I used to assign the background reading at home, and then we would come to class, and then I would extend from that. Now we might do reading a passage in the classroom. I will use some of the strategies like highlighting, or I might use say something, or I have used that 5-3-2, with them, so that they'll read more in class. I also allow a little bit more group interaction, like pair reading, when I generally would have done like one person read aloud while everybody else reads silently, which means the ones, as long as they're quiet, you would assume that they're reading silently. But when I did it in pairs, the students were a little bit more accountable for actually doing the reading. So I've made some, simple alterations to things that I've always done, but using strategies for my QMS, I think has increased the accountability of the students for the reading. Another thing that I have shifted is I used to give more notes, that the students copy the notes. Like they would have done the background reading at home, then I come to school and I would give them the notes that I'm thinking, okay, you're already familiar with this, so now let's take some notes on it. Well, if they did not read it at home, they're generally just copying the notes. So now, sometimes instead of giving them the notes that they just copy, they will do the reading in class, and I will have some type of graphic organizer or something, guided notes or something for them to fill in as they read. And the concept maps causes them to think more about their writing, about what they're writing, which means because they have to internalize it more, they remember it more, and they assume more responsibility for the work than just copying what I wrote down, what I thought was important. And many times, like, we make an assumption that they're going to study their notes. Well, they don't study their notes. So what they've done is they've copied it, it's in the binders, on the paper, I did it. But when they read it, and they have to use the concept map to find the answers, to put in the areas, and then that becomes their notes, they are accountable for it. And what I did not trust the process. So what I did was, the next day, I would have my guided notes. I would go over it with them using their graphic organizer to find out that the same things that I thought was important, they found it for themselves. So it was just a double check to make sure that they had the information correct on their graphic organizer. Because, I want to let go, but I don't want to let go too much. And it's a shift. And sometimes you have to feel comfortable with the shift. But I found that they can do it.
Well, that's one of the things we have talked about over the last year and a half, is your comfort level in releasing responsibility off of you onto them, and believing and trusting the process, and believing that they would step it up.
Right. And they have stepped up to the plate.
The showcase of how the culture in your classroom has really made a dramatic shift.
Yes.
From truly being almost teacher-centered to really being student-centered.
Student-centered.
So talk for just a minute about your experience. You're a seasoned teacher, lots of accolades for different things that you have done. So how has this shift helped support you in the way that you teach?
Okay, I think it's supported me because, see, I'm a dramatic person. I like to act. And so I think when I've done this wonderful show, that everybody should understand the lesson, because I did an awesome job acting this thing out, to realize that they enjoyed the show, but they didn't remember the content. They remembered the show because I am dynamic in the show. So I'm no longer the sage on the stage. You understand? I get to let them be the star of the show. And so for me, and I still I take my little opportunities when I can, but that's not the focus of the lesson, And I realize now that even with as great an actor as I am, the students have to comprehend the information instead of just enjoying the entertainment.
That's a hard lesson.
That's a hard lesson, especially when you are a great actor. Okay, now let me stop. Let me stop. But anyway, that's been a shift, because now I when I plan my lessons, I think more of what are the students going to do instead of what will I do. My lesson plan is, okay, what you're going to do. First you're going to, then you're going to, are you going to allow the kids to? You're going to allow, you are going to, and now I said the students are going to.
Wow.
All right. So that's just what they will do, you know. And
so the learning is no longer you're giving it to them, they're working for it.
They're working for it. They're digging in. And they'll tell me, Ms. Williams, this is hard. I said, rigor is good. You know, you'll get it. I have all confidence in the world that you will dig in there and you will get it. And then when they do, they feel good about themselves. I have a student who is she's academically challenged, and she's so used to getting poor grades. When she gets the chance to dig in and she found the nugget, oh my gosh, you should see her face. There's a glow that is totally priceless when she finds the nugget, you know. And just with her digging in and finding the nugget, it helps to boost her confidence. So I found that her grades from the beginning of the school year to now are increasing. When everything used to be fail, now she's getting better grades. Not only when she works with a partner, but when she gets the chance to work alone. And I think it's because the confidence in herself has increased since she's been held accountable for the work.
Wow. So truly you're seeing quantitative data to support the changes that you're making in the classroom with what the children are scoring.
Correct.
on their assignments.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Not only the qualitative, I'm feeling better about myself, about who I am as a learner, but you're seeing more retention and better performance as well.
That's correct.
If you could share with someone else who was just embarking on this type of instruction, what might be some words of wisdom that you would like to share?
Some words of wisdom I would tell them is to trust the process. Because when you have to make a change, trusting the process is so hard, especially when you have confidence in the way you used to do it and you feel as if the way you used to do it worked. When you trust the process, you will see that this process, giving it time, working it through, will give you better results, longer lasting results. And that's what I'm seeing, because what we did this year is we started adding other questions from previous tests. And we choose things that's core. So the students will not say, I'm done with that. I'm finished with force and motion. It's time to go on. We're on astronomy now. So we'll choose concepts from another test to put it on the most recent test. And the students are understanding that when I learn this today, it's not over. This needs to become a part of me. I need to hold on to this information. So they know that they're going to be held accountable for it. So when I teach on a daily basis, they know it matters. I need to hold on to this. I don't discard this information because the test is over. Trust the process.
It's been a challenge, but it's been a very rewarding challenge.
It's been a rewarding challenge. And don't be afraid to make adjustments. The adjustments are not going to be that great. I found that something that I was doing, if I tweaked it just a little bit, it became a little bit more literacy based. It invoked a little bit more dialogue. It caused just a tad bit more accountability from the students. So you're not changing your whole world. You're tweaking it to make it better.
So you're not changing what you do, but how you do it.
How I do it.
So you're still a science teacher.
Yes.
You're just using reading, writing, and talking to make that science understandable at a different level.
That is correct.
Awesome.